Hello, Hindustan Herald. My name is Noopur Chaughule and I run a little farmstay called the Ayra Farm, which is located in the middle of Mumbai and Goa. So, pregnancy is what inspired this change. Yeah, I was 5 months pregnant when I decided to move from Toronto and decided to come meet my parents at the farm. My parents had moved from the city and developed this farm. They had decided that they will start living here and they will start growing their own food and they will just, live a slow life and retire eventually. Got 2 cows, they bought a dog and they decided that they'll just be here. So I was visiting and right after I got here, the lockdown happened. I got stuck here. I decided that I will give birth to my child here because it's more safer to be here, especially with COVID and everything that was going on outside. So Ayra was born here, and after she was born, I would just sort of take pictures of Ayra exploring the space and being in this environment. And I just loved the way she was just walking around the forests or maybe playing with the animals in the village. And I just thought that these make some really cute pictures. So I would just keep taking these pictures and posting them on my personal social media profile. And people started asking me that, oh, what is the space? Is this like a farm stay? Do you give it out for rent? What are you doing here? So I thought that, okay, we had an extra room and I, discussed it with my parents. Why don't we just put it out as an Airbnb or something of that sort? So that's how it started. We just thought that it'll be something that we'll experiment with and give it a shot. So I put up an advertisement. I started an Instagram page called the Ayra Farm, and that was the beginning of it all. What we do here is we host people. This is not like a hotel. We like, as a family, my parents are very social people and we really like to meet new people. So we host people here. We like to show them around the village. We like to tell them about the area and, our experience as, city people moving from something which is very convenient to a space which is very inconvenient. When it comes to the culinary part of things, for me personally, I started cooking as a line cook when I was in Toronto, and it was a really hard job because it was long hours of laborious work and we would be standing all day long in hot kitchen, and it was a lot of fun also for me. Although as I started moving up the ladder, I realized that whatever was at the top of the mountain was not meant for me, and what actually fulfilled my soul was very simple food that my mom cooked at home, food that I ate from around the village, which had a lot of layers to it, which had a lot of textures to it, which was healthy, which was sustainable, which was economical, and there was no wastage here. So when I thought about food, I felt like whatever was happening here already really inspired me. And that is why I like to keep things very simple. The food that is cooked at the Ayra Farm has a lot of layers to it. It is very simple food, but like simple things like, we cook on the chulha, we grind our own spices, we make sure that the flour is ground in-house. Most of the ingredients that we try to source or the items that we put on the menu are very local dishes, Maharashtrian cuisine, because people come to us and say that, I've been eating Maharashtrian food my whole life and this food tastes very different from what I would make at home. So these small little things, the layers that you add on kind of changes the game. So we're serving very simple homemade Maharashtrian food at the Ayra Farms, although it has a lot more to what it seems like. There were a lot of challenges while the construction of this space went down. I was not here, but I remember speaking about these incidents with my father, with my mother. So during the construction work, there were a lot of these sort of challenges where the people who were working for us would just disappear for a bunch of days. And I remember my mom sending me pictures. This is the time when I was in Toronto. So I remember my mom sending me pictures of my dad, in all these worn out old clothes, and he's just like picking up stones and helping with the construction work, or just really dirty and just sitting under a tree on a khatia and sleeping or something of that sort. And I would say, what is happening? What are you people even up to there? And my mom was like, we are just building a house. And after I got here, I understood that when they meant we are building a house, they literally meant that they were building a house. So yes, there were days when the people who were helping us build the house were not available, and my mom and my dad, they would just like roll up their sleeves and they would get to work. The village where the Ayra farm is located is basically a paddy farmer's village. So most of the farmers from around the village grow rice here. Last year, we got the opportunity to grow our own rice too. And when we started doing this, we saw how difficult and technical the whole process is. Somebody like us who've just moved from the city cannot just think that, okay, I want to grow rice now and I want to start farming and I can just do it. It's not that easy. There are a lot of small little details that you need to know when you do this. And we had the help of the farmers from around, and that is only why we could grow our own rice. Without them, it would have been impossible. We would have been dying hungry here, to be honest. So we grew our own rice. The entire experience was absolutely blissful, because right from going into the fields to seeing the bulls plow the field, to sowing the seeds, and then just going and playing in the mud. My daughter, my 3-year-old toddler Ayra, would love going in the fields and playing with the mud in the rain, and she was having such a good time. And for her to understand that rice is grown like this, and that is when we get a small bowl to eat at the night, is a lesson that I don't think she could have learned in any other way or any better way. So I really believe that this helped us not only connect with the cultural and culinary heritage of the region, but it really helped us connect with just ourselves as of to who we are and what we are doing, and how we need to be more respectful towards food and the entire process of the food chain. So all in all, it was a great experience. It was quite an eye-opener. We've had guests inquiring to visit us during these time of the months. We let them know that the paddy season is beginning or it's at the peak, and you should indulge in these experiences. And some of them are very enthusiastic to find out what's going on, especially the ones with kids. They want kids to come and see how rice is farmed, and the entire experience is very wonderful, because this one time we had a family come in, and it was so funny because the kids were very scared of putting their legs and their hands in mud, and they were getting dirty. And the moms have been telling them the whole time that you don't have to get dirty, be clean, that's when you'll be good. But this was a different space, this was a different scenario. So at the beginning they were very hesitant of getting into the mud, and they were like, oh, my clothes are getting dirty, oh, my shoes are getting dirty. And eventually, as a little time passed, they got into the mud and they started getting dirty, and they started enjoying the mud. There was a complete change in the scenario. They didn't want to leave. We were there in the rains for hours. The kids did not want to leave. They wanted to be there all day long. So the paddy season brings in a lot of fun and a lot of wonderful experiences for all. Sustainability has been very important for us right from the beginning. It's one of the reasons why my parents moved from the city and wanted to try out an alternative lifestyle. The city lifestyle was getting very overwhelming for them, and that is exactly why they built this space in the first place. The plantation was done before anything else. We also made sure that we were growing a lot of indigenous varieties of fruits and vegetables, like different varieties of mangoes and supari, cashew. These are all plants that we decided to grow over here. And as we started learning, as we kept going, eventually the plan for the house was made. The floor plan was done by a friend who's an architect, who's Kiran Shinde, and the house was designed and constructed by my father, Rajan Chaughule. And he always had an eye for something of this sort. He was somebody who loved visiting Konkan, and he would go around the village and he would get inspired by the elements of what a typical Konkan house would look like. And that is exactly what we've done here. The laterite stone is a very porous stone, and it helps ventilate and keep the space cool. So we've used a lot of laterite stone for the entire space. The house is well ventilated. We have high roof ceilings, which helps in throwing out the hot air and bringing the cooler air in. Even the guest rooms, the mattresses that we have put in place are made locally, and they've been stuffed with upcycled cotton, which sort of again keep your body cooler on hot summer days. Right from the soaps to the detergents that we use in the property, we've made sure that we use eco-friendly soaps. We and are sort of milder when they are drained out into the forests. All the things that I just mentioned are definitely very important for us from a sustainable and eco-friendly perspective. Having said that, we believe that the core of being sustainable does not only lie here. The core of hospitality and it being a sustainable hospitality lies in welcoming our guests and making them feel like this is their own home. So that is exactly why we put a lot of emphasis on hosting our guests and making sure that we get to know them and they get to know us, and that way we are able to serve them better. It's not like one of those spaces where the guests come in and they're just sort of trying to figure things out by themselves. They are left by their own. They don't know what is happening, and they kind of have to figure out everything by themselves. It's not the same here at the Ayra Farm. We make sure that the guests are coming in. We sort of sometimes help them with an itinerary. We make sure that their food preferences are considered. If there are kids, if there are old people, their needs are taken into consideration. Because ultimately, as a society, being sustainable is not only in ensuring that we are taking you're taking out cloth bags instead of polythene bags. It is much more than that. It is this sort of mindful behavior as a community with each other. Activities that we offer at the Farmstay depends from season to season. The beginning of the summer is the cashew harvest season. That's when the cashews are falling off the trees like rain, literally like rain. And if you go around the village, you'll see families waking up early in the morning with bags in their hand and going to these cashew trees and collecting the cashews from around the trees and then bringing it back and then separating the fruit from the seed. So this is an exercise that is just a really friendly and fun thing that the villagers around practice, because they also sort of have a competition amongst themselves as of to who will collect the most amount of cashew seeds, and so may the best one win. So things like that, there are a bunch of like different sorts of things to do at the farm during different seasons. During the monsoon, of course, there is all the fun that the rains bring, the waterfalls, just walking through the forest in the rain. If the rain stops, we have a plunge pool for the hot days within the property. So this is like, we call it a haud. And what traditionally it means in Marathi is, back in the day, there used to be these huge supari bags that would spread from acres to acres. So these little ponds of water were constructed in the middle of these supari bags to supply water to the supari bag. So we have this little house constructed next to our supari bag as well, and that's where a lot of guests take a dip on hot summer days. There's like a plunge pool. There's also like 20 minutes away from the property, there's a small khadi where we organize these boat rides that have the most beautiful sunsets that you can ever witness. Other than that, at the farm Farmstay, we have a lot of board games, and when it comes to the amenities, you don't only book a room with the Ayra Farm. It comes with a bunch of small little common areas. Like there's a huge living room, if you've seen the pictures, with the big red jhula. So that is a common space that you share with the host, which is us. So you don't have to be stuffed and cramped in your rooms. There's a lots to do. You can just throw your bags in the rooms and then come out and explore the gardens and the farm and the common area, which has a huge bookshelf and sort of games that we've board games that we have that we offer our guests. These are all the activities that we have available for our guests at the farmstay. The guests are the most important part of the farm stay. The second you establish a connection with your guests, they will talk to you like your friend. They have sort of opened up in a way that I never thought I would experience. They've helped me with suggestions about the rooms, suggestions about the stay. Just instead of going ahead and just writing a bad review, they have come and spoken to us about this something that they not felt is comfortable. So we've been able to be in a position where instead of finding out over Google reviews that the guests were unhappy after the stay, we are actually in the position to fix it before it goes to that point. And that is the opportunity that the whole hosting the guest brings to us. One of the most memorable incidents that I have with the guests is during the evenings we usually take our guests out for a drive, and right before the rains arrive is the firefly season, and believe me, you will see the entire forest here lit up like Diwali. That is how beautiful the firefly season is. And we were just on one of our drives, and we got to the spot where this entire tree was like full of fireflies. So many of them. It was unimaginable. It was so beautiful, and everybody at that point of time, everybody was chit-chatting, talking and just blabbering, and everybody, the second they spotted that tree, everybody just shut up. There was silence for good 10 minutes and nobody said anything. Everybody, all the guests who were with us, all of us, we were just staring at this tree which had these huge amount of fireflies, and they were just like sort of dancing in a rhythm which was so beautiful. And I don't think like everybody went back home with that memory, and I think that is one of the best things that I've experienced at the farm stay, especially with the guests with us. Okay, my advice would be one, make sure that you do not, please, if you're planning to build a farm stay, make sure that you are moving from your location, your current location, and you're going to stay here. And whatever time that you can give, whatever little amount of space you have for it, you do it firsthand. Let it go slow, let it have its grow at its own pace, but definitely do not hand it over to somebody else and just try to operate it from a different location. Do it, be there firsthand and experience what this beautiful thing that you're creating has to offer. Secondly, if you are building a farm stay, try to find a village or a community that you sort of connect with, because it's important to understand the people that you are going to be working with in the future, right? These are the people who will probably be working for you or with you. So try to find communities that you kind of get along with, or you understand, or they understand you, and that I think is very important. Number 3 would be when you start construction in a particular piece of land, don't bring in a JCB. It's a mistake that we did. Don't bring in a JCB and just sort of break everything down. Try to make little paths through this entire land if you can, because technically in order to measure the land, that step is sort of necessary. But if there is a alternative way to it, please try to figure it out and do not cut down all the small trees or little shrubs that you have. Just cut through it and make enough space for 1 or 2 people to walk through this entire forest. And if you can measure your land that way, that would be the best way to go about it, because these little spots and these little shrubs and herbs and trees that are growing within the forest are really important to the ecosystem. So please try not to destroy them. I would have to say pregnancy. So I was 5 months pregnant when I was visiting my parents here at the farm. My parents had already built the farm and the house because they were planning to retire here. And they were city people who had regular 9 to 5 jobs, and they were sort of overwhelmed with the entire city life, and they wanted a change. So they decided to indulge in an alternative lifestyle. So they left the city, moved to our ancestral property and developed the space, built a house here, and decided to grow their own vegetables, buy a cow and have fresh milk and, just live here, live a simple village life. And I entered this place right before COVID when I was 5 months pregnant, and that's when the lockdown happened and I ended up being stuck here. So my daughter was born here. After I gave birth to her, I was living here for the next 2 years with my daughter, and I sort of loved the way she was exploring this space. She would go out in the forest, take walks, play with the animals, connect with the village people, and it was really wonderful. And I was always taking pictures and shooting all of this, and I would put it up on my personal profile on Instagram and other social media platforms. And everybody would ask me, is this what is this? This is like a farmstay? Are you guys renting out this space? So that's where it all started. We thought that we had an extra space, extra room that we could let out, and we decided to just put up an advertisement on Instagram saying that we are renting out this one room that we have extra to give out. Whoever is interested, please contact us. And yeah, it just began there, and one thing led to another, and today I'm interviewing with you guys. The food that we offer to our guests, we try to keep it very simple. It's basically Maharashtrian cuisine, and these are preset, pre-planned menus. Both vegetarian and non-vegetarian food is offered. The menu is primarily a coastal menu. It has, roti, sabzi, dal, chawal, bhakri, kumdi vade, all these Marathi specialities that we have on the menu. And what makes it special is we grind our own masalas. We grind our own flours, right from the bhakri flours. Most of the raw produce that comes in is from the farm or from farms around the village, and that's what makes everything very special. It just completely changes the flavors and the taste of the food just by simply buying locally and creating a menu and serving food which is very local and regional. The The village where the Ayra farm is located is surrounded by paddy farmers. So paddy farming season is a big deal amongst the villagers. It starts at the beginning of rains, and a lot of preparations go on behind it. We like to be a part of this season because it is like a festival. It goes on for an entire month, and our guests love to also be a part of this entire festival. So before we get inquiries, especially during this time of the month, right before the rains, we let our guests know that this is coming. This is the time when the farmers around start the paddy season. So you can sort of indulge in experiences where you get to go to the field and participate in this entire farming process. So when my parents decided to move from the city and move to the village, they really wanted to indulge in an alternative lifestyle. So when this space was created, it was created keeping sustainability in mind, and they wanted to make sure that everything that they did here was eco-friendly. So right from the plantation, the trees, you'll see that there are varieties of trees over here and varieties of flowers and plants. You'll see that the space that is built using laterite stone. The people who build the space they belong to the communities that live here nearby in the nearby villages. The design of the space is done as such where you won't have to use a lot of energy because there's a lot of room for ventilation, and they have big windows and high ceilings. Along with that, even the food that we offer to the guests and also what we eat here is local food that is seasonally available to us, and we try to farm as much as we can, and we try to keep it very simple, and that is what makes this whole experience eco-friendly, sustainable, and mindful in a lot of ways. What sets us apart from the rest, I believe, is us. We like to host people. When I say hosting people, it's not only kind of pleasing them or trying to give them, the customer is right and do everything by the book. We like to establish a connection where they get to know us, who we are, where we are coming from, and we get to know them, who they are, where they are coming from. So when this sort of a connection is established, a lot of things, especially from the hospitality perspective, gets very easy. For example, we have had guests over here who sometimes had some sort of issues with the rooms, and they would come up to us and tell us that, I want this a little bit fixed my way or whatever, instead of going out there and just writing a review on Google and the drama follows. But and this happens because you establish a connection with your guests. When you get to know them, when you actually respond truthfully to what they mean, and they understand that this is not just another corporate scam, it's a legitimate business run by a family who's trying to sort of build their own space, and that's when it's like art. So that's I think what sets us apart from everything that's out there.